So Dory ran it. Dory Sr. ran it until 1973 when he passed. The kids took it over from there. Dory was the world champion, so Dory dropped the title in 73. Dory now is going to go, okay, man, I'll go back to Amarillo after I do my runs all around with Briscoe. But Dory ran it for a while, and then, Terry threw his hand in there. But they sold it to Blackjack Mulligan and Dick Murdoch. And that's kind of where it just went awry. You had Don Slatton in Lubbock, I believe it was. You had everybody was just going wild, and Murdoch and Mulligan did not know how to run a business, and it just kind of that's where it died because people weren't getting paid. They weren't. It wasn't what it was at one time. And you have to understand that Dory Funk Sr. was at the time in the 70s and late 60s, probably the most prominent influence in the NWA. Sam Mushnick was the president. Sam did Sam's thing and all that shit. But Dory was probably the most influential promoter and influential mind in the National Wrestling Alliance during that time. And he was able to get his son Dory the championship. Some would say that he was able to make sure that Jack Briscoe did not beat Dory for that championship. And then, he passed in 1973 and everything went
What
awry.
do you believe on that controversy? Briscoe's not listening. He won't hear this. We definitely won't clip it out and tag him on Twitter with it.
No, I mean, here's the thing. I think that when you go back and look at everything, and I've heard both sides, is that there was no reason whatsoever Dory couldn't come back and drop that title to Jack.
Right.
And there was somebody made that decision. No, use Harley as a transition. Didn't mean as much. Just didn't mean as much because we had built up the Funk Briscoe rivalry and that match for so long in Houston, knowing the title was going to change. Now, as a kid, I didn't know the title was going to change, but I knew the rivalry. I wanted to see that match. I wanted to, and we didn't get it. So I think regardless, a lot of people say, oh, well, the accident was not even a real accident. I don't know if it was or not. Don't care. There's still no reason whatsoever that Dory couldn't have come and dropped the title to Jack in Houston as promised. Now, Dory will tell you, well, it was the first screw job, it was a fast count, and that they took the title off of him in Kansas City to give it to Harley, and that wasn't the finish, blah, blah, blah.
Hey,
I've heard that. Huh?
I've also heard, Terry told me himself that they were trying to, I guess this is maybe more spin, but they were trying to vouch for Harley Race because Harley didn't look like the traditional NWA champion. I guess there was a unwritten rule once upon a time, as silly as this sounds, that's not what a champion looks like. And Jeff Jarrett and I have talked about it before because he had heard that the NWA champion couldn't wear long tights. And Terry said the NWA champion couldn't have tattoos and all that sort of stuff. And so by doing it the way they did, Harley was able to be NWA champion. And as we know, wound up after that 57-day run, having multiple other runs. Had you heard the NWA champion has to wear?
Yeah, there's a certain look, man. They want in person, and he also had to be a legit tough guy.
Yeah,
somebody that can handle themselves. So they liked, Luthez, who was a hooker, and Kaniski was this tough guy. Dory was a legit amateur. Briscoe, obviously, a guy that could handle themselves.
Right.
Terry was a tough guy. Harley, tough guy. But yes, Harley did not fit the look when you're saying, okay, here's our world champion. Our world champion didn't have a gut and tattoos and looked like Harley looked. But once you saw Harley work, you believed him.
Oh yeah.
There was no doubt about it. But Harley had been another one of those guys that was made in Amarillo and made in that territory by the Funks. And Harley was loyal to the Funks. The Funks were loyal to Harley. So yes, the Funks were definitely trying to get Harley into that because they knew what a great worker Harley was and felt that, he was a guy also that looked like he could be beat. So as a heel champion, which for the most part back in the day, the champion was always portrayed as the heel.
Right.
So you had your top babyface in a spot to win the championship. They're booing the champion. So Harley was good for that. But that was with anybody. It could have been anybody. Do I think that Harley made a great champion once Harley got established? Without a doubt, I do. I think that Harley was an awesome champion because he was tough and he made everybody that he worked with. He made them first. And so but that's beside the point. I don't think that it did Harley any favors to win the title and then drop it to Jack that quickly because it meant nothing at the time. The rivalry was Dory and Jack. And I tend to believe, business wise, looking at it, however many 50 years, 60 years later, I look at it as just bad business. I don't think that I think the swerve was in to, okay, man, we're gonna switch it. Paul, you're still gonna get Houston's still gonna get the title switch. You're still gonna get it, but it'll be with Harley. If Dory was able to work and go to Kansas City and drop the title, he was able to work and come to Houston and drop the title.
No doubt. No doubt. Let's why do you think Terry and Dory decided to sell the promotion? I mean, were they just more interested in pursuing their own careers? They liked the lifestyle of a wrestler. They didn't want to deal with the pressure or the responsibility, or why don't you think one of them just picked up where their dad left off? Maybe
because too much work.
There
I
you
think that, look at it, man. Terry was going to be the world champion. He was on the road. He loved working. I don't think either one of them necessarily wanted the business end of it at that time. I think they were, both in a position of, let's go out and finish our runs,
right.
and then go from there.